Hello and welcome to BBC World News. I'm Lucy Gray. In a strongly worded speech, the Chinese President Xi Jinping has said that Taiwan must accept that reunification with China is inevitable. Mr. Xi said that Taiwan's separation from the mainland was a wound that must be healed. He was speaking at Beijing's Great Hall of the People. And earlier this week, Taiwan's president urged Beijing to respect the island's freedom and democracy. Let's speak to our correspondent in Beijing, John Sudworth. So, John, he talked about it being inevitable, and he also said that he wouldn't give up the right to use force.
That's right, Lucy. I mean, I think the first thing to say, of course, by way of a bit of context, is that the Chinese Communist Party has always spoken about the issue of Taiwan as an issue of national destiny, that there is something inevitable about unification. And Xi Jinping has himself, on previous occasions, linked the idea of unification with his project of what he calls national rejuvenation. So in some senses, we've heard a lot of this before. But on the other hand, when you take into account that this is a leader who is now widely regarded as the most powerful Chinese leader since Chairman Mao, as a man who has consolidated power faster and further than any of his recent predecessors, and a man who has deeply personalised that sense of national destiny, then there will be people who will ask whether, when it comes from his lips, these threats over the possible use of military force, the sense that this insistence that Taiwan and China will one day be unified, whether we should take those words more seriously. And it will certainly make some of those in Taiwan who have always been traditionally very nervous about this kind of Chinese rhetoric think very hard indeed about what the future may look like, particularly with the forces in Taiwan who are seen as more anti-China. The political party of President Tsai Ing-wen, of course, recently suffering pretty significant electoral setbacks in the local elections. People will wonder what this all means for the positioning of China in the months ahead.
And also, I talked about him talking about the use of force, but he also warned about foreign interference being intolerable. What would be, the international reaction to any kind of movement on this?
Well, he's referring there, of course, in particular to the historic, long-standing commitment of the United States to back Taiwan with military force. The status quo has, up until now, always held over the island, although there have long been concerns, of course, that it remains a flashpoint. And ultimately what that status quo means is that despite China's rapid economic and military rise, its growth into its superpower status, the taking of the island of Taiwan would still be a hugely risky military gamble, one that would be far from guaranteed success, partly, of course, because of those US arms sales to Taiwan. And I think what we've seen from President Xi today is a warning that if anything goes beyond the status quo, then he would see that as an intolerable line to have been crossed. But again, nothing particularly new in that. Other Chinese presidents, his predecessors, have issued similar warnings in the past.
OK, thank you for now. That's John Sudworth for us there in Beijing.